Good evening. I'll bring this regular city council meeting to order. If we could please rise for the invocation by Pastor Karen Liedall.
Let us pray. Almighty God, we pray that you would bring your blessings upon the public servants in the government of the city of Sebastian, especially the mayor and this assembled council. As they gather, help them to be mindful that they meet to serve the community, to use resources wisely and well, to represent all members of the community fairly, and to make decisions that promote the common good. Teach us all to recognize our responsibility to the past and the future, as well as to the rights and needs of both individuals and community. For our trusted servants, we seek blessings upon their deliberations and on their efforts. May all act wisely and well. We know you by many names. I pray in the name of Jesus. Amen.
Amen. Please remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, Ms. Williams.
Mayor McPartlin.
Here.
Vice Mayor Jones.
Here.
Councilmember Dodd.
Here.
And Councilmember Nunn.
Here.
Thank you.
All right. Council, I guess in agenda modifications, there was looking at a letter of support for the Treasure Coast Hospice, their certificate of need. When do we want to put them? After the moonshot? Mm-hmm. Okay, yes. They'll go after the moonshot. All right. First up is Marie O'Brien with the Moonshot Moment, the literacy movement.
Thank you. So I'm Marie O'Brien with the Alliance and coordinate our Moonshot Moment literacy movement. I just want to thank all of you. You know, every year you guys have been so supportive of this literacy movement. We always do our proclamations. And I wanted to share with you that the movement has gained so much national attention that we have a filmmaker who came to the county last year. They made a film called Sentenced, which is about how hard life is if you aren't literate. Steph Curry was co-producer of that film. So these are national filmmakers. They saw what's happening here and they said, this is so impressive. We'd like to tell the story of Indian River County, of how your community is really united together to support literacy. So that the instead of it being one documentary, it's actually 10 episodes. They said it's more of a master class that they can share with other communities around the nation for us being a literacy capital of the nation. So I think we're going to show you just a 2-minute trailer to see what it's all about.
Thank you.
It's no longer hidden. Literacy is a huge problem in America. Throwing money at it hasn't solved it, and expecting the schools to do it alone has only made it worse.
Only 35% of our nation's third graders are proficient at reading. We're leaving a whole lot of kids behind.
The system really wasn't designed to look after all kids.
When we don't get them at the right time, society pays.
It's easy to point out the failures, but who is out there doing something about it? There's a county in Florida that's taking the literacy crisis head on. Indian River County's kids were struggling, and their families and schools were stuck in a harmful cycle. Too many of their kids weren't thriving.
We can no longer, as a country, expect the American dream to be available for those kids in today's economy.
We all want our community to thrive. We want our country to thrive, but it all starts with literate children.
And these two moms could not get their kids reading.
We both had boys who were struggling in school, and having it be so hard for them and nobody to help me was awful.
And with money, you can go get tutors, you can bend over backwards, but it's not fun. And without money, God save them.
In response, the Learning Alliance was started.
We were just two crazy moms and a philanthropist looking for a place to bring money and solutions.
And they set a goal for their community.
Because Liz said,
I said, well, the research will point to 95% of our population can be proficient readers. Let's set an easy goal. Let's dial it back a little bit and go with 90%.
With their county around 45% and the wealth disparity, this was an ambitious goal.
they probably think we're nuts, right?
We are.
But they were inspired by JFK's call to reach the moon with no known path. So they called it their moonshot moment.
We choose to go to the moon, not because they are easy, but because they are hard. Because that goal will serve to organize and measure the best of our energies and skills.
It's a big, ambitious goal. Nobody knows how to get there.
But the community adopted the Learning Alliance's vision.
So to have this moonshot goal,
it's all hands on deck.
A major movement in our community.
It's unified, everyone.
We break barriers.
We want to have 90% literacy by 3rd grade.
It could be life-changing if we crack the code.
We'll change everything. It'll change a child, a family, the community, businesses, everything.
They bet on the idea that pouring tons of resources into the prenatal to 3rd grade development of their kids would trickle up through their families and schools, ultimately transforming their community.
And so we've been advocating, what do we need to do in our homes? What do we need to do in our community? And what do we need to do in our schools?
They scoured the country for best practices. Liz completed her master's in learning disabilities, and they started piloting in-school, after-school, summer school, and teacher development programs.
It wasn't, let's just do a program that moves, 20 kids. We wanted something bigger and more.
They made progress with the support of school district, but were having a hard time scaling enough to reach their goal.
It's scary. It's scary to say 90%, right? You don't know how many times people have thrown mud in our face and said, oh, you're not there, you failed. And you have to persevere through that and say that the vision and the goal is worthy of us failing multiple times until we figure it out.
And then the school district made a big change. They hired Dr. David Moore as their superintendent.
We will truly act in the best interest of children. Damn the torpedoes, go ahead and fire me.
We have to change. We're not going to lower our expectation. And the day that I have to sacrifice that is the day I'm out.
He was drawn to the district because of the community's effort and was aligned with the Learning Alliance's mission.
I'm going to invest in K1 and 2, so by the time they get to 3rd and beyond, I can change the experience by making sure they never get behind.
He brought his system change skills and a new culture to the district, and the school system bought in.
It's all about what is best for students. We're not going to worry about adult comfort. We're not going to worry about whether we like it.
Public education many times has failed our communities because we have been adult-centered.
They put their kids at the center of everything they do.
if we all have this collective goal of everyone being literate by the end of 3rd grade, what are we waiting for? Like, let's go now.
And the collective effort is really starting to pay off. In the last 4 years, their district grade has increased 29 state rankings. Their performance showed the most improvement in the state of Florida over the last 3 years, and have been a grade A school district the last 2 years with a 96% high school graduation rate. Since 2015, their Title I elementary schools have improved dramatically. And while the state's non-charter 3rd grade reading scores have dropped 3 percentage points, their scores have risen 5 points over that same time. The last 13 years, this community has been recognized as a national pace setter by the Campaign for Grade Level Reading. This is still a story in progress, and they're not to their goal yet, but something special is happening here.
We can do hard things. We can do hard things.
It's a story of a unique and multifaceted public-private partnership that has put years of effort and money into finding solutions that make real impact with even the most challenging elementary students and schools. And now they want to share everything they've learned in hopes that other communities with less resources can use their hard-earned lessons to take this crisis head-on themselves.
Something unique is happening here in the Indian River school system, but it doesn't have to be unique. Everyone can do this work. Everyone can engage in these kinds of conversations to experience this community success that Indian River County is experiencing.
So the series is out. That's actually, we've updated it as well. We're now tied for second in the state for third grade reading. And 71% of the kids here in the county are reading on grade level. So there's been just such a dramatic increase in it. So we are having an event October 2nd to celebrate the school district and all the community partners. They're going to show 2 previews of that episode. So we gave each of you a copy of the invitation. If you can join us on October 2nd, and this is for the whole community at Riverside Theater, we'd love to have everybody there. Dr. McMahon, Dr. Moore, the school district, and some of the community member people will be honored. And also the producer of the film, Jeff Martin from Children's Literacy Project, will be there on a panel. So, hope you can make it.
Thank you. Thank you, Marie.
Thank you.
All right, next up. Treasure Coast Hospice.
Thank you, Mayor and council members, for allowing us to come in tonight and letting us tell you about our services. There we go. So we've been proudly serving the community since 1982. We currently serve Martin, St. Lucie, Okeechobee, and Brevard counties. We earned our Joint Commission accreditation in 2023. We were recognized as one of the top 15 best workplaces in aging services. Currently, we serve approximately 1,000 patients a day in hospice and over 5,000 grief support patients annually. Let's see here. Each year, we do approximately $1 million in charity care, Harper Fund, which is a fund to help people that possibly need their electricity paid or groceries or something extra, and veteran care. We have a community and outreach and education that we spend approximately $600,000 on. Our grief support is $775,000 and growing. We do complementary therapies, music, massage, pet therapy, virtual reality. We have inpatient units where we serve our patients, an adult palliative program, and our Little Treasures program is our children's program, our pediatrics and grief support, and we have a program called Treasure Pets where we help take care of patients and their families' pets because they're like members of your family. Our hospice care is a holistic approach, physical, emotional, and spiritual care at the end of the life. We have a dedicated team of physicians, nurses, CNAs, chaplains, social workers, grief support, counselors, and volunteers. And hospice does not hasten or postpone death. It just improves the quality of life. We are a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week service, and we provide care wherever the patient calls home, whether it is in a home, in assisted living, in a nursing facility. We have patients that have been homeless. We go wherever the need is. We currently have 5 inpatient units with 54 rooms between Martin, St. Lucie, and Brevard counties, and that is for short-term stays for acute pain, symptom management, or respite care to give families a break. We do individual, group, and family counseling, including counseling in the schools for the children. It's very hard sometimes for them to come into an office. We do community counseling and crisis intervention. If there's been a tragedy in one of our communities, our counselors will show up to help and aid. We have camps for our children who've experienced a loss called Camp Good Grief, and we look forward to supporting any needs here in this community, including with our remembrance events like the Tree of Life or our Lakeside Stroll. We have a very large pediatric program with a specialized team of pediatricians, pediatric nurses, social workers, chaplains, and therapists. The one thing about pediatrics is they can have concurrent care, so they can get both curative and hospice care at the same time. And we also do palliative care with a program with the state of Florida called Partners in Care, or PIC. One of the things we're extremely proud of is we have the highest level of We Honor Veterans partners with the Veterans Affairs. Last year, we completed 556 veteran-to-veteran patient honor ceremonies, 311 patient veterans, and 245 communities. We have 26 dedicated veteran volunteers in the Watch Standard program for veteran suicide awareness. I brought one of our veteran pinnings kit. Wanted to show you a few things in it. It comes with a certificate of recognition. It comes with a pin. We have an honor coin, a flag from one that's actually flown piece, and our volunteers make these beautiful blankets for all of the veterans. And we have had many families tell us that they keep these and forever afterwards. Our Treasured Pets program, we've served approximately 175 pets annually, and that includes dedicated to caring for the patient's vet, facilitating and funding veterans' veterinary visits, procedures, surgeries, grooming, exercise and play, food and toys, and rehoming. Many of our team actually have pets in their home that were once treasured pets. We adopt a lot. And we have our community therapy, complementary therapies, music, massage, aromatherapy, the virtual reality. Over 90% of our patients that had these things reported a decrease in symptoms. And again, we go out to educate the community on hospice and palliative care and work with many other charitable organizations to support the community. In Indian River County, we will, if we are awarded the certificate of need, we will have local office, a dedicated team of Indian River County volunteers serving Indian River patients, and we will create jobs in this community. And I certainly appreciate your time, and thank you very much. Is there any questions that I can answer?
Any questions? Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much.
Hey, Vice Mayor Jones, you want to go over the brief announcements?
Yes, sir, for sure. Sunday, September 28th, this Sunday coming is Gold Star Family Day at Veterans Memorial at Riverview Park, and that service will be from 11 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. Saturday, October 4th, Sebastian Kids Fest, that's at Riverview Park, from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. And Tuesday, October 7th, is the Sebastian River High School Homecoming Parade along Indian River Drive, from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. The rain date is set for Wednesday, October 8th. And that's it.
All right. Thank you, sir. That leads us up to public input. Now's the time for anyone who wants to address the council on an item that's not already on the agenda. Now's the time. Got anyone on Zoom?
No one has raised their hand at this time.
All right. Well, I know you like to make an entrance, so see if anybody else wants to participate.
Thank you for the compliment. It's a great way to start a meeting. Thank you for returning my calls. Left you 2 messages, but I know you're very busy, Mr. Mayor. You know, as a leader, Children's Services for your district, you're doing a great job. Thank you.
Thank you.
I hope no children have passed away on your watch. Have you been up to date on that? I know. You're busy taking care of. You're busy taking care of me and making comments that are not very professional.
Mr. Mayor.
However, let me put.
This has nothing to do with city business, sir.
Yeah, thank you. I got a sense of humor. You didn't hurt my feelings when I came up here. So I just want to bring you up to date because the public doesn't know that the city's going after my food commercial vehicle on my commercial property for my business. And you're over $50,000. And I am licensed by the Department of Hotels and Restaurants for that vehicle. But you insist on taking me from the Circuit Court to the 4th District Court of Appeals, and we just may have to go to the Florida Supreme Court with this. You know, the attorney, she's got her friend over there in Orlando, paying him big bucks to go after a business a business that's been here over 33 years, 50 plus years. And you allow this to happen, at the same time you're raising our taxes 12 to 14%. It's absurd. Your stormwater fees are out of control because you doubled them, and they're not being spent properly, but yet you have time to put small mom and pop businesses out of business. I haven't seen anybody from the city come down and say, hey, Damien, what can we do to help you? How can we create jobs? Nothing. But I drive down Indian River Drive and I can show you a bunch of businesses that are doing their own rezoning, building their own stuff without permits, but you focus on me. You focus on me. I don't know what the purpose is, why you're trying to hurt me, my family. I just want to try to go about my business. I try to serve this community, and you just won't let up. You won't send any of your officials to come down and try to talk to me. How can we resolve a commercial truck that's certified by the state of Florida to operate all year, just like my business, my building? I pay fair taxes in this community. But yet, you won't let up. You turn your attorney loose. She spent $50,000 that was not in her budget to come after me. And maybe we need to have the Florida Supreme Court to weigh in on this. And it's just a matter of principle. Shame on you, man. You're raising our taxes, it's out of control, and I'll be happy to talk about that under the right item. You're doing a terrible job, you should resign. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else from the public wish to speak? All right, this time I'll close public input. And I'll recess the city council meeting and reconvene as the Board of Adjustment. Leads us up to item A, consider draft November 4th, the Board of Adjustment minutes.
Mr. Mayor, I move approval.
Second.
The motion is second. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Leads us up to consider drafted November 20th Board of Adjustment minutes, council.
Move approval.
Second.
Motion is second. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Leads us up to C, consideration of a variance request for 851 Wasina Avenue. The owners are James and Sandra Barco. So, Dory? Is you, Dory? Is you? Yes. Okay. Who wants to lead it off?
Dory. I think she heard you.
Oh, usually we have the applicant will speak first. I don't know if everybody needs to get sworn in or...
I'm ready to take any questions you guys have for me. I hope you have the same information in front of you that I have in front of me. I'm here requesting a variance on a chikia that was built shortly after I moved into the property.
All right.
Sir, if you could please raise your right hand. We need to swear you in for a quasi-judicial proceeding. Thank you.
Quasi-judicial.
Do you swear or affirm that the factual statements and the factual representation which you're about to give or present during this public hearing will be truthful and accurate?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
All right. So, sir, I guess you could have a seat, and if we have any questions, we'll call you back up. Just sit close. Dory?
Thank you, Councilman. This is a request for a variance. Mr. Barkow and his wife live at 851 Wasina Avenue, and this came into our realm of review when there was a permit for a carport that Mr. Barkow pulled. History of the project is this is a 10,000 square foot lot. It is zoned RS10. Zoning district regulations require a maximum amount of 30% building coverage, which on a 10,000 square foot lot is going to be 3,000 square feet. The home builder of the property owners, Adams Homes, built the house exactly at 3,000 square feet. So the house itself and the residence with the garage maxes out that allowable amount of building coverage that you could have for this property. The homeowners bought the property, I think, late last year, 2024. They were not given any information from the home builder that this was at its maximum building amount. In fact, you can see from some of the information that the property owner has given you, even on page 41, in his comments, he says that he commented to the salesperson that the garage wasn't big enough for both vehicles and a golf cart, and the salesperson was to build a shed like everyone else does. Mr. Barkow did come in with a carport application. He had a permit for some additional concrete, and a separate permit for a carport. And at that point, our zoning technician denied the carport because the house was already at maximum building. And through that denial is when we came across that there was an existing chicky hut that had been built behind the homeowner's property. It's a 12 by 30 size chicky hut, 360 square feet. There was some confusion with the homeowner, and he actually did reach out to the contractor, to the Seminole contractor, asking did he need permits for this. And also on his information that he supplied, on page 47, there is a copy of an email that he sent to them asking that he was referencing the permit for the build and the layout of the build. And the response from the Seminole contractor was that tikis are exempt by state statute, and then he gives the number of that state statute. That statute is included in your packet. It is, though, if you read through it, it is exempt from the Florida Building Code only. Unless you have plumbing, electrical, and concrete, you need additional permits. But the state statute also doesn't mention that you may need permitting or at least a zoning review for setbacks, building coverage, building height, things like that. So they're not necessarily exempt from permitting, they're exempt from the Florida Building Code. But the way it was relayed to the owner, he was not aware that he needed to come in and pull a permit. And he has offered some additional other information that you can see that he is requesting the variance. That was the only way that we can get around this without the removal of the chicky hut. The code, the city's Sebastian code, requires there's some criteria that you have to review to consider before you could grant a variance. Staff has kind of filled that out, how we feel they do meet those standards for those, the criteria. There is a special condition or circumstance. This is a special type of accessory structure. The conditions technically were not created by the applicant. I think there's a lot of scenarios where if a homeowner puts up a structure without a permit, we kind of say, hey, they created this, their own hardship, their own condition. But this is a little different scenario in that the homeowner had been guided misinformation and not given some information by both his home builder and the contractor itself. So it wasn't necessarily created by the homeowner. We've gone through some of the other criteria. This is only the minimum variance that they're requesting. We have, within our staff report, we have kind of laid out the board's two options. You can deny this variance request and then require the chicky hut be removed from the property. Staff would recommend, if that is your denial, that it would be removed within 2 months. Or the other option would be to grant the request. You would allow this additional 360 square feet of building coverage for the property, but we would like to make a condition that it is for the chicky hut only, that if the chicky hut was removed, it's not like granting an extra 360 square feet for the property that another shed could be put up. It is strictly just for the chicky hut only, and that no other accessory structure or building coverage can be added to the lot. Staff recommends the second recommendation of granting the variance.
All right, thank you, Dory. And we notified all the neighbors within 300 feet?
So the letters did go out to property owners. We've never had any, we didn't have anybody call, but you did see the property owner, Mr. Balco, did put a letter in there from the neighbor that's exactly behind them. In your packet, there are also some pictures of what the chicky hut looks from their view, from the front view, from the side view. But yes, so there is a letter of support from the neighbor behind them, that they were okay with the chicky hut remaining there.
Okay. A glowing letter of support, right?
Pardon me?
Glowing. A
Yes.
glowing letter of support. Yes. All right, council, any questions for Ms. Bosworth?
I do.
Yeah, I do.
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
So, Ms. Bosworth, if this house wanted to put a cover on the back porch, forget the tiki hut exists, would that be allowed?
No.
So they wouldn't be able to even put an overhang covered porch there?
Correct. Now, a screen enclosure. So say you had a concrete pad in your backyard,
Okay.
And you just wanted to be away from the bugs.
Right.
It was more like a pool screen enclosure. That does not count towards building coverage. It's anything under a roof. So if you've
So
got a
under a
concrete pad and you put a roof on, that does count towards building coverage.
Wow, that's interesting, because I get it, I mean, I understand it, but if there was already a concrete pad there, it seems like that would make sense to be able to put a porch over your
I think one of the
cover.
pictures does show, though,
Yeah.
that there isn't any concrete underneath.
No, there
the tiki
wasn't
hut.
there, no. I see that from the pictures, but, okay, I appreciate that, thank you.
Mr. Dunn?
Yeah, have we contacted Seminole Authentic Tiki Huts and let them know that that they do have to pull permits in the city of Sebastian if they work here?
I don't think we have contacted them directly. I know there are other Seminole contractors, we'll call them Seminole, that have been certified by the state to put up these chicky huts. I think, though, that we are, and this happens, I don't want to say quite often, but enough times in a year, there are some of the home builders that have these house models that are at that 3,000 square feet. And our zoning technician gets a few people in because they're getting denied for some of their shed permits or so many things, and they come in and like, we had no idea that our house was at maximum build. And, you know, we're hoping that some of the home builders will at least, it's not required to be any type of recorded type of disclosure, but, you know, we wish they'd be a little bit more diligent about disclosing that to home buyers that particular model is at the maximum build out.
Well, it would be wishing too far to think that the salespeople selling a house to somebody would let them know they can't add anything to it because it's over 3,000 square feet. But the contractor that put that tiki hut up, I believe, was responsible for letting that homeowner know there was going to be a problem and for pulling the permit. I think the city should contact them and let them know that they do have to pull a permit in Sebastian for that purpose. They can't, because they'll tell the next person the same thing. It's exempt from state permits. We don't have to do it. And we'll be right here. I can't blame this gentleman. I mean, I'm in favor of approving this variance because he was given bad information by a contractor that he shouldn't have been given. And so I think maybe we should contact, and Brian's making notes down there. I see him with his pen and pencil out. So we're in good shape with that. But other than that, so I will, Mr. Mayor, I'll move that we approve the variance for the tiki hut only. Is that the right language you would like to see?
Yes, the additional building coverage would be only applied to the chicky hut, not a
That's
tiki
it?
hut, chicky hut.
Second.
Chicky,
Second,
not
Mr.
cheeky.
Jones, you had something?
Yeah, I just wanted, Dory answered the question that I was looking at, because when I was reviewing this and was looking at the statement where it says the home builder did not advise them of that they were at their maximum square footage. And my question was going to be basically, does most home builders advise their clients of that? They said, this is the maximum you can build within the city of Sebastian. You can no longer add a porch on or anything else under a roof if you go with this particular model at 3,000 square foot. Has that happened often?
I don't think it does, because we have enough people come in wanting to pull for some sheds or something in their backyard, and we're having to tell them, no, you're at your maximum build out, a carport for a boat or, you know, something. But I don't know if there's anything in our code that we can require that. When that house permit comes in, we're making sure it's at the 3,000. Like I say, I don't think there's anything legally that requires them to record. It's not necessarily a covenant or a deed restriction on the property. It's a zoning district requirement. So I'm not sure what we could require them to, you know, make them tell any home. And it's the same thing once a house is being sold, even from the home builder and a second or third home buyer. I'm not sure where that is noted in any type of document for even future buyers to know that they're at their maximum build out.
Right. Well, that's fine. That answers mine. I mean, I just want to know. I'm like, there's no way that this could be this way. The home builders have got to let these people know, right? But that was my assumption.
We hope so, yes.
Right.
Yep.
All right, we got a motion and a second. Anyone from the public wish to speak on this variance request? Anyone on Zoom?
No one has raised their hand at this time.
Yes, ma'am? You want to speak? Come on up. If you got to come up and say your name.
I'm Kim Papadopoulos, and I live right behind them, and I will tell you, this tiki hut is absolutely amazing. It does so much for my property to go out and look at this beautiful tiki hut, and I'm sure you've all seen the pictures that I totally agree, and I don't want it being taken away.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. All right, anyone else from the public wish to speak on this item? Roll call, Ms. Williams.
Vice Chairman Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Dodd?
Yes.
Mr. Nunn?
Yes.
And Chairman McPartlin?
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Leads us up to a... Another variance request for 1921 North Central Avenue, Sebastian. The city is asking for a variance request.
Oh,
All right, Madam Attorney, you want to read the request?
Sure. This is a variance request on behalf of the City of Sebastian on the property located at 1921 North Central Avenue in the City of Sebastian, Florida. The request is a reduction of the required 30-foot setback for 19.31 feet variance from the Land Development Code Section 542528D5 in order to construct an administrative building. I believe this is presented on behalf of the Parks and Rec and Facilities Department in order to construct a new administrative building. Due to site constraints, they're requesting a variance from the required 30-foot front setback as established in the Public Service Zoning District to a required setback of 19.31 feet. Community development staff has reviewed it, and I was also consulted and reviewed it in order to determine that it was legally sufficient because the City of Sebastian is the property owner, and there is case law, obviously, that says we can evaluate those as presented by staff. And I believe staff has more details. Alex down there. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Yeah, how do we want to handle it? Do we got to disclose any ex parte communication we have with Brian concerning this matter or what?
What was that? I'm sorry? What'd you
Any
say?
ex parte communication?
Oh, me? No.
We're good.
Other than
All right.
staff, no.
All right. So, Ms. Bernard, you making the presentation?
I am. So the Parks, Rec, and Facilities Department is looking at rebuilding the administrative offices at the City of Sebastian Cemetery. When they submitted their site plan in an effort to not adversely impact existing plots and to try and save one oak tree that is there, it was determined that it would probably be in the best interest to ask for a reduction in the required 30-foot setback to 19.31 feet. When you look to the east of the property, there is a home that is still 100 feet away from where this potential new administrative office could be. And I'm more than happy to answer any questions, and staff fully supports this request.
Mayor McPartlin.
Yes, ma'am.
I just would note that on the quasi-judicials, you decided not to have public input via Zoom. It would only be applicants that would be heard by Zoom.
There are?
You asked for Zoom input on the last one, and this is a quasi-judicial, so there would be no Zoom.
No Zoom.
No
Okay.
Zoom.
You got to be here to be in it. All right. Any questions
Yes,
for
sir.
Ms. Bernard?
I do have one
Yes.
question. What is the current building setback that's on the property from the back road,
For the existing,
existing building?
it's further than 30 feet, but
Is it really? Okay.
yeah.
I would have never
But
guessed that.
it looks, it's questionable there, right? You can see, yeah.
And is the new building going to go in the same location?
It actually will be offset a little bit to the east.
So basically the same area?
Right.
Okay,
But a bigger building footprint.
gotcha.
Any additional questions for Ms. Bernard? All right. This time I'll open it up for anyone who opposing the request on this variance for the city. Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Damian Gilliams, 1623 US 1, Sebastian. Is this the property that the city had the appraisal on it before they purchased it, and the appraisal said that there was illegal oil dumping? Is that the property we're talking about, Mr. Mayor?
We're talking
Yeah, check your appraisal. It's in the appraisal. City had the property appraised, and there was some dumping of oil that you guys never contacted the DEP to let them know, and you never had proper cleanup on that property. It's right there in the file. Everybody knows about it. So we should give you guys, the city should give themselves a variance when you don't follow your own laws? Really? Isn't there money missing from the trust account, Mr. Mayor? The cemetery trust account that Al Minna talked about on video, right here in this room? You guys look so good, so clean, But you give everybody a difficult time when they come up here for a variance. And you guys are the biggest lawbreakers in this community, especially when it comes to the environment. Shame on you. And you're supposed to be our trustees, our public servants, watching over our accounts. And you're going to get ready to build a $600,000 building. And where are you going to get the money from, Mr. Mayor? You're going to take it from Peter to pay Paul? Yeah, I know. Some of the council members up there kind of like, you didn't think Damien remembers, but I've been around 40 years. Shame on you. And everybody knew about it because the sheriff's department was down there. Remember, that's where they found the body. Yeah, they shut it down. You remember that, Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
Yeah, you do remember that. Thank you. At least you're being honest and you're shaking your head and you're telling the community, you guys deserve diddly squat. You don't deserve nothing. But it's in the public interest of the dead and the people of this community to have a place, to have a maintenance building over there. It's in the best interest. You guys are criminals, and you know about it. Mr. Dodd knows about it. He's been around. He told me about it. He told me about it at Walmart. So let the record stand. You should not give yourself nothing. You should go back and fix what you did and stop hiding it. And it's public record. Go look at the appraisal. City clerk has a copy of the appraisal. It's in the file. When they purchased it, they did a complete assessment of that property. As a matter of fact, I don't even think the city pulled permits for sand mining on that. You're the biggest offenders, but you sued me. You went after us, my family, when we tried to do a sand mining operation, and we had to take you to court and get the 4th District Court of Appeal to put you in your place and pay all our fees over there on Old Dixie Highway. Okay? Everybody's afraid of you guys to come up here and confront you. But most of you are very weak when you find the truth out and you don't want to bring it forward. And it's shameful. I have to come down here to remind you.
All right,
Now,
sir,
if you
can
want
you
to
wrap it up? That's time.
Yeah, if you want me to provide you with the documents, Mr. Mayor, I have them. I'll be happy to provide them. Maybe the press, Nick Slater and Andy, can do an investigative report.
Time is up.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you.
I'm happy to be here. Thank you for inviting me to speak.
Yes.
My First Amendment. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, sir. Anyone else from the public who opposes this variance request for the city? Okay, I'll open up for anyone who's in favor of the city getting this variance request. All right, nobody? All right, Ms. Bernard, you want to wrap it up, or you good?
I have nothing further to add at this time.
All right. Thank you, sir. Counsel, how you wish to proceed? Huh?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to approve this variance. I haven't heard anything in testimony that convinced me that this was not the proper thing to do in this situation. Thank you.
Second.
All right, got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Roll call, Ms. Williams.
Mr. Dodd?
Yes.
Mr. Nunn?
Yes.
Chairman McPartlin?
Yes.
And Vice Chairman Jones?
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, I'll recess the City Council meeting. Well, we'll recess and we'll convene as the Community Redevelopment Agency. These sub-item 9A, consider the draft of May 28th CRA minutes.
Move approval.
Second.
All right, got a motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, that carries. These are up to 9B, consideration of resolution number R-26-01, adopting the Riverfront Community Redevelopment Agency CRA budget for the fiscal year 2025-2026. Madam Attorney?
Thank you, Mayor. This is City of Sebastian Community Redevelopment Agency, Resolution Number 2601, a resolution of the City of Sebastian Community Redevelopment Agency, CRA, adopting a budget for the fiscal year beginning October 1st, 2025, and ending September 30th, 2026, making findings, authorizing budget amendments and transfers, providing for conflicts, providing for scrivener's errors, and providing an effective date.
All right. Thank you. Mr. Benton, you leading us off?
Yeah, I'll get it started, and then if we have any specific questions, we can go to Ms. Bernard. So thank you, Mr. Chair. Just want to highlight a couple things in regards to this estimated tax increment revenue for the CRA for the city of Sebastian, or from the city, is $314,399. Estimated revenue from the county is $323,707 for a total amount of $638,106. And then as you look over expenditures, I just want to remind you all, when we look at administrative services provided by the general fund, the city did take over the landscaping maintenance last year. So that has continued to move over into this fiscal year. And then we do have an additional staff member that's doing additional CRA work. That is the result of that increase there for administrative services. And then when you look at the CIP or the CIP for the CRA, we have identified sign improvement program funds in the amount of $25,000, sewer connection program $100,000. That is our discussions with Indian River County and our partnership with them to cover material cost in regards to the CRA septic sewer project that we are still waiting on FDEP documents to finalize the grant funding. We have not received that yet at this time. However, once we do receive that, then we will begin to proceed. I know we've gotten some questions at the groundbreaking in regards to residents, business owners, property owners in the CRA district being able to connect. So we are just waiting on those grant funds. That grant was $3.6 million. And we do have a matching there. If you look back into FY25, that $128,000 is our estimated match for that grant opportunity. And then kind of looking down in regards to the working waterfront expansion, this project is in design. We budgeted $250,000 in FY26. Swing and Bench Park, another project that is currently in design, $200,000 on that. And then Fisherman's Landing Working Waterfront Facility, we budgeted $383,683, pedestrian crossing signs of $15,000. So as we discussed in our budget workshops, all of these do come out to an ending fund balance of zero within the CRA, and we do have some pretty good projects that are coming forward within that area as we continue to move forward. Any other questions, you can ask me or Ms. Bernard.
Anything to add to that, Ms. Bernard?
No, that was very thorough and covered it.
All right. Council, any questions for Mr. Benton or Ms. Bernard? Anyone from the public wish to speak on resolution number R-26-01? Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Damian Gilliams, 1623 US 1. So, community redevelopment, community, that's the CRA. See if I understand this correctly, Mr. Mayor. It looks like your biggest expense is going to the working waterfront to Fisherman's Landing, where you plowed millions of dollars already into that property. But I'm under the impression that CRA is the community, all of the CRA. And all that money is being funneled to one particular area. And I don't understand that. And you guys over the years have not been spreading and sharing this money to beautify the CRA. And I'm sure if you look at the intent of the CRA, that's what it's meant for. And you're not doing that. You know, I call that building down there, Hurricane Harbor, was the big boondoggle back in the day. And here it is, fast forward. Now, I'm going to make a projection, Mr. Mayor, because I saw this city hall get built, and it was $3.5 million. We went to 7.5. The contractors came in with the low ball, did the change orders, and they walked out of town with a lot of money to Palm Beach. Fast forward, we did just the new garage down there at the airport. I said the same thing. It was in the budget, $3.5 million. I warned you guys. Mr. Carlisle, Paul Carlisle, our great city manager, with his buddies, which I told everybody in the community, he's bringing his contractor friends over here to get the bid. And this is standard procedure. Got the bid, his boys, that he did business with over there.
Sir, can we talk about the CRA
This is, I'm going to get to the point. I'm going to get to the point because I'm going to fast forward how the community spent $9.2 million on their garage when it was budgeted for $3.5 million. How do you miss those numbers? That's fraud. That's fleecing of the taxpayers of this community. But everybody's afraid to speak up. I went down there and I spent a few hours. I got the tour, got all the pictures. I was really impressed. But why does it keep happening? So, you got $600,000 in the CRA, I'm sure, for this new building, or it's going to be coming from somewhere. You guys want to take a bet tonight? What's it going to be, 1.2 million, 2 million? When it's done, you're just going to let one of the good old boys come in, get the contract, lowball it, and then do the change orders and stick it to everybody in the community, especially the people in the CRA. You put on new roofs down there. You did, kayaks, et cetera, should have had that building. But they took it from him and gave it, and then it blew up in their face, the guys that couldn't handle it. I'm talking about Hurricane Harbor. There's too much fraud in this town. It's time that the Justice Department come down here and straighten all you guys out.
All right, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Head Todd knows.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to speak on Resolution R-26-01? I lost train of thought. Council, any questions?
I've got a question.
Yes, sir.
Actually, it's a couple of observations. On the working waterfront expansion line item that's got $250,000 in 3 years. Brian, could you guys maybe give a little summary of what we did or didn't do this current budget year and what we plan to do in that expansion, just so people understand what that money's being used for?
Yes, sir. So the working waterfront expansion, for those of you that aren't aware of exactly the purpose of the working waterfront is that is a commercial fishing industry area. We allow commercial fishing industry to come in and offload their catch. They then process it right there underneath the covered overhang that takes place there. This project is to expand that. If you speak to any of the commercial fishermen, they're being run out of pretty much all commercial fishing dockage along the East Coast is being eliminated. And here in Sebastian, we're one of the few places that is actually looking to preserve that industry. It has been a rich part of Sebastian's history. It's a part of our heritage. And, it's a very, council has made it known, and residents have made it known that they want to preserve that. And part of our preservation is actually to expand the working waterfront. We are currently in design to increase the number of boat slips that we are going to have available for the commercial fishing industry there. And that is what is shown in here. We're in design right now. The design has, I think we're probably at around 50% of the design, 50-60% of the design. That will be coming forward within the next few months back to council for consideration on the design, and at that point we'll have to go out to bid. So what you're seeing in here with these numbers is inclusive of the design, but then also construction that will take place over the next 2 years.
Okay, I think my hearing aid's driving Fred crazy here. It's ringing a little bit, but have we done the submerged land lease expansion that we need to do to expand those docks?
That is underway right now. They have applied for the permitting. That is all active underway.
So of the $250,000 that we budgeted during the current budget cycle, roughly how much of that have we expended so far?
Do you know?
It's okay if you don't know. I intended to come down and ask these questions this afternoon. I really wasn't able to get down. I apologize for that.
We can get that number for you though, and we'll
I'm more interested in the public knowing that, so that I am, I'm not as uncomfortable with that when that takes place. Okay, now on the line item for the Fisherman's Landing Working Waterfront Facility, we're talking about Hurricane Harbor there, right? We have
correct
380. If I can read these small numbers with my little glasses here, $383,000 in 25-26. That is purely for bringing in an architect, bringing in engineers, and do the work that we need to do to determine what we can and can't do with the building and put together an overall design for that. Do we feel like we can get completely through the building design phase for that?
Yes, we'll be able to get completely through to the design phase for that. And the reason you see, I know it was referenced the roughly $600,000 number. We don't anticipate being able to build that building for $600,000, build it back. what we're going to go and do is we'll have public inputs and input from the community in regards to that. If you remember, we were talking in our budget discussions at our budget workshops, these were the funds that were remaining in the CRA that we had left over to allocate to it. That's why it's such an odd number. It wasn't necessarily a number that we had budgeted from an actual figure. These were the funds left over that we can then expend to do that pre-work to get that facility ready to go and go out to bid.
Okay, well, I think the $600,000 number we heard was a confusion between a cemetery building and this, because that was $600,000. So I just want to, the reason I'm asking these questions is I just want to just make sure that everybody in the public, it's easy sometimes to say I agree with a budget, it's a bunch of numbers on a spreadsheet. The city is taking steps that we have to take to make that working waterfront work correctly. We have a commitment to do that. We have a commitment to the state. We have a commitment to the grant that provided that. There have been missteps in that process. I'll be the first one to admit that, but we're taking the steps we have to take to correct that. And it's not a boondoggle in any way, shape, or form. It's one of the very few working waterfronts left on the east coast of Florida. If it is, I'm not sure it isn't the only one left, true working waterfront left on the east coast of Florida. Is that my ear?
It is something. I can hear it.
No? Is it coming from my hearing aids? Oh, okay. Okay. So it happens sometimes. Mine start to ring them. So I think just people need to understand that when they hear words like boondoggle and so forth, it's easy, very easy to complain about the past with no indication of what you can do positive in the future. And with that, I move that we approve the resolution number, whatever that is. That's it right there. I move approval on that.
Second. Public input was closed. However, ma'am, if you want to come up and speak the other question.
When you say commercial vehicles, are you in this shallow little river right here with commercial boats? That's not very deep in this river? And how big are these commercial fishermen's boats? Just asking. I mean, are we going to be like a little wharf, or having the whole beautiful walkway for people and the restaurants and everything with commercial boats that are quite large with depositing fish in a shallow part of this river?
May I?
I mean, how big are these
yes,
boats?
Yes, ma'am. So if you haven't been down to the working waterfront area that's down there, if you drive down, if you go past Earl's on the right-hand side, there's docks there now. There are boats there now, commercial fishing boats. And what we're doing at this point is we're expanding that docks to add more boats.
But how large are these commercial boats?
They're there now.
That's what my concern is.
Yeah.
I mean,
the ones that are there now, they're no longer than, I would say, 20, maybe you might get a 25-footer, but that's about the max size. They're not those huge commercial fishing boats you see like in Fresh Catch. I forget what the name of those TV shows are. These are much smaller boats. They go out here into the ocean through the Sebastian Inlet and do all their fishing out there and then go back in.
and so will these be our local commercial fishermen?
Yes, ma'am.
Or are these going to be out-of-state commercial fishermen?
Almost every one of them
there?
live here locally that are there now. They all live here in Indian River County. I've talked to many of them. Yes, ma'am.
You spend a lot of money in this county.
Oh, yes, ma'am. Mm-hmm.
A lot. The tax rate, I don't know if anyone has looked back since 2020. I mean, 17% in 2024, a projected 17% again. It's frightening. It's frightening.
Thank you, ma'am. All right, we got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Roll call, Ms. Williams.
Mr. Dodd?
Yes.
Mr. Nunn?
Yes.
Chairman McPartland?
Yes.
Vice Chairman Jones?
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, I'll recess the Community Redevelopment Agency and reconvene as the City Council meeting. Leads us up to item 10, the consent agenda. Council, how you wish to proceed?
Move approval of the consent consent agenda as is.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Roll call, Ms. Williams.
Councilmember Nunn,
Yes.
Mayor McPartlin.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Jones.
Yes.
And Councilmember Dodd.
Mr. Dodd? Consent
Yes,
agenda.
sorry.
Yes.
Okay, motion carries.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Leads us up to, anyone have any committee reports? All right, leads us up to item 12, public hearing, consideration of ordinance O-25-04, the first reading and transmittal hearing, request for large-scale comprehensive plan, future land use amendment for 148.5 acres, existing land use of mixed use, industrial and commercial industrial, Indian River County, to low-density residential, 5 units per acre. Madam Attorney.
Thank you, Mayor. Ordinance is the first reading, as you stated, ordinance number 02504, an ordinance of the City of Sebastian, Florida, approving an amendment to the comprehensive plan future land use map to designate a land use classification of LDR, low-density residential, 5 units per acre, to property containing 148.5 acres, more or less, formerly known as the Vickers Sand Mine, located east of Lance Street, west of the FEC Railroad, south of Gilson and Concord Avenues, and north of Beach Cove Mobile Home Park, with current land use designations of MU mixed use 10 units per acre, IN industrial, and CI Indian River County commercial industrial, authorizing findings and administrative actions, providing for conflicts, severability, and scrivener's errors, providing an effective date, and providing an adoption schedule. This is a first reading and public hearing.
All right, thank you. Ms. Bosworth?
Thank you, Council. This is a public hearing. Staff will give a presentation, but I did want to let you know that both the property owner, the project engineer, and the potential buyer is also here if you have any questions that we can call them up also. So this is a request for a large-scale land use. And just kind of to remind everybody that all properties will have a land use, and they also have a zoning. So this is a request for the land use change, not the rezoning at this time. This is for land use. This is a 148-acre site, of which it contains an 85-acre lake. So most of the property is water. There's approximately about 63 plus or minus uplands. A large-scale amendment for the comp plan map, land use map, is 50, so this is over the threshold of 50. This does require a review by DEO, and if approved tonight at its first reading, we will send it up to the state for review and then bring that back to you with their comments at second reading. So a little history of our mixed-use land use, because that is the current land use that this property has. This is, we've got on the map here too on the screens, this is the project location. And so anything that's in red, this is where the land use change is requested. You've got the lake there. It does also include, there's a small 1.47 little square there on the southern portion, and then also Industrial Park Boulevard. The mixed use land use is actually a new land use from our 2040 comp plan, and it actually came about as a, to help us with development of our southern annexations. The original Graves Brothers annexation for the 1,000 acres, that actually came in with a multitude of industrial, commercial general, medium density. It was kind of a map of different zoning mixtures. And after that annexation, we put together the mixed use as an easier way for land use for larger pieces of property. And when we were going through that, we were trying to also consider catalyst sites that the mixed use land use may be beneficial for its development. As you remember, we also changed the triangle as a mixed use land use. There's a parcel near the airport that has mixed use. And this was, we had another piece of property that annexed in with the mixed use, but this was another one. And so we had kind of approached at the time the property owner, Dr. Fisher, was annexing in some property. We mentioned this land use, and we thought this would be a good catalyst site. And speaking with him, he agreed to have this property changed to mixed use with our new comp plan. Shortly after it became a mixed use, there was a potential buyer for the property. We've gone through different iterations of what they would like to develop on this property. However, as we've gone through those different revisions of what they want to bring in and build around this lake, it kind of lost its mixed-use type of flavor. It did not meet the intention of what our comp plan is with mixed use. It was becoming more and more just residential. And so we did approach that potential buyer and let them know that they either had to change the plan to bring more of that mixed-use component into it, or they had the option of applying for a land use change, which is why we're here before tonight. They would like to go back to the original land use, which was low-density residential. A portion of it along the railroad tracks, the eastern portion was industrial. So this is a request to bring all of these. There's actually 10 tax parcels, ID parcels, that they would like to change the land use to low-density residential. Low-density residential is up to 5 units per acre. The current land use is mixed use, allows 10 units per acre, so we're going down in density, but because of the size of the lake, they're never going to get their maximum density of that 5 units per acre. Again, tonight this is just the request for the land use. This is one of the applications we have. The next round of applications before you will actually be then for the rezoning, and you'll get to see the conceptual plan of what they would like to design, but tonight is just for the land use. We have, our code does require you to, there are some criteria that you have to consider in your deliberations for this change. We have that in our staff report on page 202, but also the applicant has also put together their written summary on how this request meets those conditions also. And on page 212, we've actually got the different existing land uses. It's not only mixed use. Again, there's an industrial parcel that wants to go to low density. And then part of this is, if you remember in January, we had to correct an annexation in Industrial Park Boulevard. You annexed that in. So this is now getting their land use. What I can show you is this is the current future land use. It's mixed use. And there's where you see what the other land uses are that we need to also change. If the request is granted. They are requesting to go to low-density residential. The color kind of got faded out here, but so you'll see all of those parcels would then become low-density residential. This is the existing future land use map. So that pink, that will all become yellow, which is surrounding it's the same land use as the highlands around that. And this was the low density, these are sections from our comp plan, the low density residential component. And I also put up the mixed use to show that, as you can see, it was residential, office, commercial, recreational. The conceptual plan that you'll see in about 3 or 4 weeks did not have any of that remaining in there. So right now it meets the intent of the low density residential. Staff recommends approval on first reading, and if approved, we will send that up to DEO after tonight's meeting.
All right, thank you, Ms. Bosworth. Council, any questions for Ms. Bosworth? Anyone from the public wish to speak on this ordinance O-25-04? Council, how you wish to proceed?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, I don't see how this would be mixed use anyways with the amount of property it has associated with land property. So low density residential seems to make more sense. So I'll make a motion to approve ordinance O-24-04.
25-04.
Or 25-04, sorry.
The motion is second. Any further discussion? Roll call, Ms. Williams.
Mayor McPartlin?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Jones?
Yes.
Councilmember Dodd?
Yes.
And Councilmember Nunn?
Yeah.
Motion carries. Thank you.
All right, thank you. These up to item 12B, final public hearing, adoption of fiscal year 2025-2026, final millage and tentative budget. Mr. Stewart, good evening.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. This will be me to start off with.
Okay.
Good evening. This is the second of 2 millage and budget hearings. Tonight we are dealing with the final millage and final budget. This hearing is pursuant to Florida Statute Section 200.065, method of fixing millage. In accordance with Florida Statute Section 200.065, of which subsection 2D reads in part, within 15 days after the meeting adopting the tentative budget, the taxing authority shall advertise its intent to finally adopt a millage rate and budget along with the final hearing date. In no event may the millage rate adopted pursuant to this paragraph exceed the millage rate tentatively adopted pursuant to paragraph C. Subsection 2E1 indicates that in this hearing, the first substantive issue discussed shall be the percentage increase in millage over the rolled back rate necessary to fund the budget, if any, and the specific purposes for which ad valorem tax revenues are being increased. During such discussion, the governing body shall hear comments regarding the proposed increase and explain the reasons for the proposed increase over the rolled back rate. The general public shall be allowed to speak and ask questions prior to the adoption of any measures by the governing body. The governing body shall adopt its tentative or final millage rate prior to adopting its tentative or final budget. So while I'm reading these together, the law requires that you must consider the millage rate first before the budget. So tonight you will be considering resolutions number R2537 relating to the final millage and R2538 relating to the final budget. These are the titles of these resolutions. Resolution R2537, there it is. A resolution of the City of Sebastian, Indian River County, Florida, adopting a final millage of 3.4455 mils for the calendar year 2025, providing for conflicts, providing for scrivener's errors, and providing for an effective date. Resolution number R-2538, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Sebastian, Indian River County, Florida, adopting the budget for the fiscal year beginning October 1st, 2025, and ending September 30th, 2026, making appropriations for the payment of operating expenses, capital expenses, and for the principal and interest payments on the indebtedness of the city in the city's general fund, special revenue funds, capital improvement funds, golf course fund, airport fund, and building fund as provided for in Schedule A, attached here too, establishing authority of the city manager to implement the budget, providing for severability, providing for conflicts, providing for scrivener's error, and providing for an effective date.
Thank you, Madam Attorney. Mr.
Thank
Benton?
you, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So I just want to confirm a couple things that required by statute. The advertisements were posted and accurately put out there in accordance with Florida statutes. And then also in accordance with Florida statutes, I have to announce that the fiscal year 2025-2026 final millage of 3.4455 is recommended, which in accordance with state statutes is 14.29% higher than the computed rollback millage. These revenues will be applied to general fund expenditures projected for fiscal year 2025-2026. And with that, Mr. Mayor, I'll turn it over to Mr. Stewart for a budget overview in regards to the final millage and final proposed budget.
Thank you. Mr. Stewart, good evening.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is going to be our final hearing on the 2026 budget. We'll go over the current factors, the summary of the general fund budget, the enterprise, special revenue, and other funds, the capital improvement program, and property values and millage rates. Some current factors that affected this year's budget are the health insurance premiums are up 7%. The property liability and workman's comp insurance is down $327,206. The police contract is on tonight's agenda that will affect this budget. The supervisor union negotiations are still ongoing. The non-union employees' pay increases are set at 6% in this budget, with some changes to maintenance worker positions with new pay grades and additional adjustments. No new positions were added in this budget. And one position transfer, a reclassification from the maintenance worker 2 to a heavy equipment mechanic. And the new retirement plan is also part of this budget. In the general fund summary, looking at the increases and decreases, your personnel cost increased $992,000, operating expenditures by $207,000, and capital items and projects were a decrease of $584,000 for a net increase to this year's general fund budget of 3.2% or $614,000. Looking at the golf course, the projected expenses over revenues is $155,000. The revenue's projected conservatively, even with new rates, and $100,000 is shown as the repayment to the general fund. The restaurant lease remains at $30,000. The airport rent remains at $107,483. $37,397 principal and interest on the $700,000 building fund loan, and $200,000 for the cart barn replacement moved into FY26. Looking at the airport fund, the projected expenses over revenues of $78,332. We have property rental revenue expected to increase with the rental of the new hangars, the square hangars. The loan from the discretionary sales tax fund, the hangar A principal remaining would be $213,495 at 9/30 of 26. And on hangar B, that loan will remain at $213,408 at 9/30, 2026. The grant matching from the airport fund is $50,000 for the design of the taxiway golf, $27,750 for construction of the terminal apron expansion, $50,000 for the design of the northwest access for expansion, and grant matching from the district sales tax fund is $197,520 for the construction of taxiway golf. And over the next 5 years, $1,010,000 for the matching on construction of the taxiway golf, runway 1028 rehab, security fiber network upgrades, construction of northwest access for expansion, design taxiway alpha rehab, and taxiway Bravo rehab. Moving to the building fund, we have projected expenses over revenues of $456,000. Permit revenues starting to level off and expecting $37,397 of principal and interest on the payment of the loans. On the $700,000 loan, it will the ending balance will be $428,522 by 9/30 of 26. And $559,684 of the loan to be paid after the $700,000. Looking at our ARPA fund, this was originally allocated to Gardenia Ditch, Schuman Drive, Conch Dam, employee retention payments, and road work. It was obligated by December 31st, 2024 is required, and it must be spent by December 31st, 2026. Improvement projects needs plans and permitting, which require some time, and road work completed in FY25, and Gardenia Ditch and Schuman Drive projects are ongoing. In the local option gas tax fund, we're projecting collections at 1% increase annual. These funds are being used for all road preservation and associated swell work and scheduled in the current paving management program. Funding a road condition assessment in FY26 and railroad crossing maintenance and sidewalk work. In the discretionary sales tax fund, we're projecting collections at a 1% increase, and they're being used for road reconstruction and associated swell work as scheduled in the current paving management program. It's also funding MIS infrastructure, police vehicles and equipment, AC replacements, police roof repair and replacement work, Main Street boat ramp dredging, vehicle and equipment shelter at the Public Works compound, major construction vehicles and equipment, and is used for matching funds for the FAA and FDOT grants. On the Riverfront CRA fund, the operating expenditures cover audit fees, administration, working waterfront improvements, other facilities maintenance, submerged land lease, the consulting fees, travel and education costs, legal ads, state fees, association dues, and landfill fees on Fisherman's Landing. Landscaping is handled in-house, and the Fisherman's Landing and working waterfront projects through FY 26-27, and Central Avenue Catalyst Site in FY 28. In the Recreation Impact Fee Fund, there are unspecified improvements at 5K per zone, 80,000 in playground improvement budgeted, and we're projecting 2026 ending fund balance of 207,787 if the revenue estimates hold true. On Stormwater Utility Fund, personnel and operating expenditures exceed revenues by 75,933. Capital expenditures include a mini excavator, a zero-turn mower, and slip lining or pipe replacement. On the Law Enforcement Forfeiture Fund, they're only used for unbudgeted items, and specific items would be council approved, and the current balance is $53,582. Parking in lieu of fund is used for providing additional parking, which has a current balance of $127,540. In the Cemetery Trust Fund, half of the sales are used on operation and maintenance, and we're reimbursing $150,000 to general fund, and half the sales used on expansion are cost incidental to adding future sites, funding columbarium niches in FY27 and replacing the admin building in FY26 of $660,000. Looking at the capital improvement program, $46.2 million over the next 6 years, $12.5 million in FY26, next fiscal year. $4 million will be next year will be funded by grants, which is 31.9%. And the largest items in the next fiscal year are $3.1 million street work, $1.1 million terminal apron expansion, $987,000 taxiway golf construction, for a total of $5.2 million for those large items. Looking at property values and millage, certified taxable values. The total certified taxable property values have increased by $193 million, or 8.4% above the prior year. The additions account for $58 million, or 2.55% of that increase, and reassessments account for $134 million, or 5.86% of that increase. The rollback rate is 3.0148, and the proposed millage is 3.4455, which is an increase of 0.25 mills from the prior year. But it is less than the advertised trim rate of 3.5455. To use the rollback rate, we'd require using over $1 million in reserves. Property values and millage, looking at the taxable value additions. These are the dollar value of tax roll additions, which is new construction or improvement over the last 10 years. Looking at the breakdown of an average tax bill in the city of Sebastian, you'll see that of each dollar spent on ad valorem taxes, the Indian River County gets 36.1 cents. Indian River County Schools gets 34.8 cents. The city of Sebastian is set to get 20.8 cents. And the hospital district, 4.6 cents. And the other taxing districts at 3.7 cents. And here's a look at the different millage rate options and their effect on fund balance and the general fund reserves. And you'll look at the first row as will show your rolled back rate of 3.0148. It would require dipping into general fund reserves of $1,038,000. Using the prior year rate of 3.1955 would have required dipping into general fund reserves $602,987. And then you'll see your draft rate, 3.4455, which is proposed, and a 14.29% increase, which would balance the budget. I also put in the trim notice rate, which shows you the decreases we were able to make from the time we put out the trim notice until we proposed the budget. On the property values and millage, these are the impacts on home values. And the first set of columns is looking at a home with a homestead exemption, which sets the rate at 3% maximum increase. And then the next set of columns to the far right would be the home without a homestead exemption. They would have saw 8.4% increase. And if you go down to the line that's grayed out showing the proposed budget rate of 3.4455, you'll see the dollar value for the city of Sebastian that rate would affect the tax bill. This is a look at the millage setting for the 20-year history, and it has been set at or below the rollback rate for 11 years or 55% of the time. Some other considerations in this budget are the police contract coming up for consideration before you tonight, and the supervisors union negotiations, which are still ongoing. Unknown impact of price increases and tariffs will affect the budget. Setting the proposed millage at 3.4455 will be, it was advertised as a 14.29% tax increase, which is the 14.29 is over the rollback rate. But as we talked about at the first hearing, it is 7.82% over last year's millage rate. And this proposed budget millage is 0.1 mils less than was advertised on the trim notice. In conclusion, staff requests council approve the tentative millage for the fiscal year 2026 at 3.4455.
Thank you, Mr. Stewart. Anything to add, Mr. Ben?
Nothing to add, sir.
All right. At this time, I'll open it up for public input on the final millage and the budget fiscal year 2025-2026. Anyone wish to speak on this item? Yes, ma'am. Come on up.
Catherine Rondo, 1408 Trade Winds. If I'm understanding this correct, our property taxes are going up. Our local sales tax is going up 1% if we buy something in this city. Our gasoline tax is going up. And if anybody got a water bill, our water is going to have a rate increase. So I just wonder if anybody's looking at what people's income are in this city and how much the average citizen in your city can afford on increases, and is everything absolutely necessary? I didn't raise my hand for the $600,000 building on the cemetery, but I'll say it now. Why are we putting a maintenance building in by the river that's beautiful? Why isn't it getting put at a different area in the city where people who love to go down to the river and you want to improve tourism have a maintenance building there? And why can't we utilize some of these empty buildings in this city, businesses out of business, plazas that have no shops in them, as our maintenance center? Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Anyone else from the public?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Damian Gilliams, 1623 US 1. You know, the lady before me, she's correct. A lot of stuff is going up. Everything's going up. You know, you guys have additions of $58 million plus additions. You have reassessments of 5.86%. Over the years, the past 5 years, property values have been going up constantly. You put more money in reserves. I mean, I don't want to go into all the details because I don't have a lot of time. But you should not be raising taxes, especially if you're sitting on over $9 million, $10 million in reserves. And to hit rollback is only $1 million and change. You should not be raising taxes, period. During these hard economic times, people are going to be losing their jobs. Lots of them. AI is here. It's not going to be just the people that, the moderate income people, it's going to be the white collar people. They're going to be losing their jobs. But you guys got money to go buy a $250,000 boat to put down at the slips that you took from the public. That was a park for the public. That was slips were for the people. And you gave them out to your law enforcement buddies. And you had the county sitting on a $1 million piece of property vacant, closer to the inlet. I hope you're not going to be shooting boats out of the air. I mean, it's just, it's ridiculous. You have the money in reserves. It's been a light hurricane season. I think you should reconsider. I know it's in the second hearing, but you got $12 million in capital improvements going on. I mean, you just spend, and I don't see any conservatives up here. Anybody that's looking to cut or to readjust some of the operational expenses in the city. You know, 3.4, rollback is 3.01. You can get there and give everybody a break in this town. You know, it's bad enough you put the garbage collection on everybody's tax bill. That's not nice either. Then somebody's going to challenge you on that, because I think that's illegal. We don't own our property no more. You guys own our property. We only maintain it. That's the bottom line. Thank God the governor's starting to look at, he's taking leadership roles and he's looking at the property taxes to try to figure out another way to do this, especially for the homesteaded people. But spend. I don't know, any of you guys have businesses that you own? I don't think any of you have businesses. As a matter of fact, you're all government employees. And I'll leave it there. I rest my case. That's all you guys know how to do. Give us a gift. It's $1 million. You're over $10 million in reserves. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else from the public wish to speak on the millage rate or the budget? All right. Anything to add, Mr. Stewart, Mr. Benton?
No, sir.
I'll just provide one clarification. We are estimating a 1% increase in gas tax and discretionary sales tax. That is not an increase, that is a projected increase on coming in, not an increase when you go to the pump or when you go to the store. So we're not increasing sales tax, we don't have that authority, and we're not increasing gas tax because we don't have that authority. We're just estimating additional revenues coming in on that 1%.
And then I want to add is that, you know, in July, we had our budget workshop, 2 full days, where we went into great detail about the whole budget with all the department heads. Mr. Benton was here, and there was some, it's very difficult. Nobody wants to raise taxes, but the cost of everything is going up. So.
Mr. Mayor, can I ask that the city manager explain, clarify the building at the cemetery? First, that it's not on the river and that it's not a maintenance building, that it's actually, can you explain what that building is for and where the money is coming from for that building, please?
Yes, so the cemetery has a trust account that has to be expended 50% on maintenance or upkeep of the cemetery and 50% on additions to the cemetery, expansion of property, things like that. There is an existing building there. The cemetery is not located on the river. It is back, you know, 1 block back on Central. There is an existing building there. That building is outdated. It is unusable for the most part at this point. And it was determined that we needed to build a new building there. The new building is not just a maintenance shed. There is a garage area that will have maintenance equipment in it. However, the rest of the building will be for families to come to the cemetery, to be able to look at plots, to sit down and meet with staff in some of their most difficult times in their life. And I feel like, you know, this building we have out there now is not sufficient for that. This building will provide that opportunity. And it's not exorbitant. It is a 1 conference room when you walk in. It has a small office. It has restroom facilities. It does have a break room for the staff that's there, and it has a garage. That is what the building entails.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Anyone else? Mr. Dodd?
Yes. Yeah, I was going to ask that question. It was a great question, Chris, because she deserved a good answer to that question, I think. And I know he's not here anymore, but just in response to the speaker, I have never worked for the government. So I'm not demeaning government employees, but I've never drawn a government paycheck. I have drawn some paychecks from companies that had to live within budgets, and I will tell you that if you look around Sebastian today versus what you saw 2.5 years ago when a big rainstorm comes through, you'll see why we spend money. If you look at the streets that are being paved, you'll see why we spend money. Our option, quite frankly, as a council, is to quit maintaining the city, quit maintaining the streets, quit maintaining the stormwater, quit maintaining the other things. The reason for that is that our ad valorem taxes in total, the amount of money we collect in property taxes, the total amount that we collect this year, this coming year, is not enough money to pay for our police department. We have to dip into other revenue funds to provide cars to the police department. We have to dip into other revenue funds to do things that are required for them to operate that public safety division. So public safety is an important issue to individual people, including our governor, who seems to not recognize that as he talks about doing away with property taxes. If it's important to people, then you need to understand just exactly where that ad valorem money can go. There are many cities in the state who generate enough money out of ad valorem taxes to run quite a part of their budget, but the city of Sebastian, at our size, within our revenue base, we do not generate enough money in ad valorem taxes to run our police department. And we have, in my opinion, one of the best police departments in the state. They do a fantastic job. I would hate for us to, because of some knee-jerk political move to try to get points out of the populace, I'd hate for us to have to make hard decisions about whether we police or not, or whether we repair streets or not, or whether we repair stormwater or not, or whether we have people doing the things that our growth management department does. I guess we could open the city up to developers and say, come in and build what you want, when you want. We're not going to question it. Those are the things that people don't want and people complain about. This budget is very tight. I think the mayor made a very good point about the two-day workshop. There's not a whole lot of things in here that we can get by without doing if we want to service the lifestyle of the people. Sebastian is right now, within this area, one of the most livable cities because we don't have high buildings. We don't have all of that stuff. We have a nice waterfront, and we spend money to maintain that. We have a lot of parks. We spend money to maintain those. And if the citizens want us to quit spending that money, then they, if that was the direction that we got, then it's just a matter of us not doing it. But I don't believe from the feedback that I get, and I don't think from the fact that we have 3 council members who ran unopposed this year during the election, that the citizens are absolutely unhappy with that. I don't like having to increase the property taxes, but everything that we're doing is aimed at continuing to support the lifestyle in the city of Sebastian, and to continue to support to continue to increase the capability of our facilities to make life better here. We need to continue doing those things, and if we don't, people are not going to be very happy with the city. So, contrary to what the gentleman who spoke said, is there's not any boondoggles here. There's not any. There's no collusion. Nobody up here is doing anything out of spite. But we are trying to maintain the city. We have a great staff. They're doing a great job. And I think that this budget deserves to be passed. And once again, with that, Mr. Mayor, I move approval of whatever these resolutions are.
Well, there's resolution number R-25-37, setting the final millage rate at 3.4455.
Thank you, sir.
And I'll second.
That's my motion.
All right. All right. Any other comments on that?
I do want just to say one thing. During our tentative millage hearing, we set the millage rate for tentative at 3.5455. And we gave a directive to the city manager to see what else you can cut, see what else you can do. I know that we've cut a lot from the budget to get to that point, and that was during the budget workshops. And he came back at that next hearing and dropped almost $250,000 off the budget, that they found more just little things. I mean, things that they could cut, whether it's operating expenses or other things. And I'm happy with that. I'm happy that they were able to do that and drop it down, so we weren't giving the full tax increase that we had tentatively proposed to begin with. So with that, you know, I just think, I don't want to pay more taxes, but at this point, I know what that money, you know, the budget workshops are amazing. I really encourage you, if you're concerned with the budgets, I really encourage you to come sit in those budget hearings and listen to them, or maybe on Zoom if you can't spend 2 days sitting here in its council chambers with us. But you will hear so many different things that really explain every single department and what they're doing and what money's being spent where and what money's being cut where. And I just think it's a good thing. Thank you, sir.
Mr. Mayor, also, you know, it was said earlier that we could just take the 1 million out of reserves and just go ahead and make sure that we don't raise the millage or anything. But if we were to take $1 million out of reserve, Brian, tell me what would happen over the next couple of years after that.
So if it were operating expenditures that you were trying to fund with reserves, what you would end up doing is compounding the effect in the future years. So you would not only be next year looking at $1 million in debt, but then any increases you add in that future year, it would be added on top of that $1 million that you're already funding. So it's
So
never
we
my
start out $1 million
recommendation.
in the hole already, right? The next
Yeah,
year.
you just start kicking the can down the road is
Right.
basically what it's doing, and increasing, you know, the debt, you know, the underfunding of the operating expenses.
Thank you, sir.
Anything else?
Yeah, one last thing.
Yes.
You know, I heard people say, well, you know, that's what we have to do when we need to pay our bills, is we need to pull it from savings. Well, if you have to pull money from your savings every time you pay your car payment, when that car breaks down, the money's not in savings to take care of it. The reserves are there to protect this entire city, not this building, not the people in this building, but all of the people. If there's a bad hurricane, and listen, we've had some bad hurricanes in my life living here, which has been forever. So we've had some bad hurricanes, and there's been millions and millions and millions of dollars that have to be spent by this city. Because if you think FEMA pays it, it takes them sometimes 7 to 8 years to pay the money back when FEMA says they're going to take care of money. It's not like they pay it right back to us. It takes forever sometimes for they get that money. So our reserves are there to protect all of us, not just this city building and its employees. Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right. Ms. Williams, you got the motion in the second?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Vice Mayor Jones?
Yes.
Yes.
Councilmember Dodd?
Yes.
Councilmember Nunn?
Yes.
Mayor McPartlin?
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you.
All right, and that leads us up to resolution number R-25-38, the budget for fiscal year 2025, 2026.
Mr. Mayor, move approval.
Second.
All right. Get a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Roll call, Ms. Williams.
Councilmember Dodd?
Yes.
Councilmember Nunn?
Yes.
Mayor McPartlin?
Yes.
And Vice Mayor Jones?
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Leads us up to item 12C, consideration of ordinance O-25-13, second reading and adoption hearing, establishing a retirement plan and trust for the general employees of the city of Sebastian. Madam Attorney.
Thank you, Mayor. Ordinance number second reading, a final reading on 02513, an ordinance of the City of Sebastian, Florida, providing for the establishment of a retirement plan and trust for the general employees of the City of Sebastian, authorizing the participation of the plan in the Florida Municipal Pension Trust Fund as a party thereto, providing for codification, providing for publication, providing for severability, providing for conflicts, providing for an effective date.
All right, thank you. Mr. Stewart, this you again?
Yes, sir. 2 in a row. So I'll give you a brief synopsis of the retirement plan that we went over back at the end of August and with the recommended changes of the council. The agenda we're looking at is just the general information and the new proposed plan, which will be the establishment of the plan and the board, the plan highlights and plan details and costs. General information, the General Employees Union was dissolved and the current retirement contributions to the CWA are set to end at 9/30/2025. This would cause an automatic withdrawal from the CWA plan with only vested employees keeping their benefits. At Council's direction, an ordinance for a new retirement plan for eligible general employees has been developed. And a separate ordinance, which would be considered after this, has been developed to establish the Board of Trustees for the new plan. Just an overall view of the new retirement plan and the establishment of the plan and board. The ordinance O-2513 establishes the plan, and the attachments to the ordinance are the defined benefit plan document from the Florida Municipal Pension Trust Fund, and that defines the parameters of the plan. You also have a plan adoption agreement, which is the template from the Florida League of Cities establishing the plan details specific to the city. And you have the master trust agreement between the city and the master trustees of the Florida Municipal Pension Trust Fund. You will also be looking at our ordinance O-25-14, which establishes and creates the the Board of Trustees for the retirement plan. And this Board of Trustees, with the requested changes, entails 5 members with 3-year terms after the initial term, 3 residents appointed by council, 2 of which have a 3-year initial term, and 1 has a 2-year initial term. Also, 2 plan participants would be elected by the participants to be on the board, 1 of which would start with a 3-year initial term and 1 with a 2-year initial term, as requested. Looking at the plan highlights and options, the plan start date would be 10/1/25. Eligibility would be all full-time general employees. The new employees' participation date would be immediate. And we allowed an opt-out for employees within 5 years of retirement. The employee contributions would be voluntary at 0 to 10%, and they may change their contributions every 5 years. The vesting period in this plan is 5 years. A service credit buyback option was established with a 5-year max. The city has directed us to include a buyback for service credit or a contribution to the 401A for 43 unvested CWA employees, which would lose their any benefits under the CWA plan because they didn't reach that vesting period of 5 years. This plan has a retirement age set at 60 or age 55 with 25 years or age 55 with an early retirement. And that early retirement would be a decrease of 3% per year. And also it includes benefit options of life or 5 or 10 years certain in life or joint pensioner benefits. Looking at the opt-out provision in this plan, it was established because the vesting in the new plan will take 5 years, so we allowed employees to choose to opt out. The city would, for those employees, would continue to contribute 9% to the 401A for them, in which they would immediately vest in the 401A and they retain ownership from day one. And on 10/1/2030, the city would stop contributing to this 401A plan. Taking a quick look at the calculation of the benefits, you'll see on the far left column how it is calculated. Most retirement plans are calculated similar, FRS, and the police pension plan is also calculated using these factors. The average final compensation, which is the highest 3-year average or a career average, whichever is higher, times the credited service times the plan factor. And that's based on your contribution, and also that would equal your annual benefit starting at age 60. And you see to the right some examples. Looking at credited service, the special provision for unvested CWA employees, those with less than 5 years, the actuary calculated the value of those benefits to be lost total $158,561 for those employees. The plan participants The value applied to the purchase credited service in the new plan for the ones that are choosing to go into the plan is estimated at $115,331. And for those employees choosing the opt-out provision, the 401A, those total $43,230. Oh, and we did make the change in the ordinance that they would receive that one-time lump sum payment to the 401A account upon reaching what would have been their normal 5-year vesting date under the CWA plan. And look at the cost of this plan. You'll see in the general fund, the other funds, and the total cost. You'll look at you can see the payroll subject to retirement and the budgeted cost at 9%. Then the new plan cost with the cost of the plan and the 401A contributions total $1,016,903. That is an increase over the budget of $293,637. The buyback for unvested CWA employees, as we talked about, $158,561. So the increase over the budget with the buyback totals the $452,198. And with that, I'll be glad to take any questions you may have.
All right, Mr. Bent.
Mr. Mayor, if I could just jump in on two things. So just a reminder, the additional, Brian, can you go back one slide? So the buyback for unvested CWA employees option and the increase over budget, those were two items that we had discussed taking out of reserves for this year. So just want to clarify that those numbers will come out of reserves. And then the other thing on this ordinance in regards to the plan, you all had provided clarification that Mr. Stewart mentioned in regards to the CWA payment, the ones that were not vested, they could get their lump sum payment in the 401A. That change is reflected. It's actually in green. It wasn't redlined, it was green. On page 271 in the document, just for your records, that change was made. And we're available for any questions you may have.
All right, council, any questions for staff?
No, I do want one statement, Mr. Mayor, if I can. And I know you just heard us say that basically they're going to take that $452,000 out of reserves, and you're like, well, why can you take that out? We can take that out because that's not a reoccurring cost. It's a one-time thing to fix the budget for this year related to the retirement plan change. It's not money that we'll have to pay every year. So it's not going to put us in a hole, $452,000 for next year. Thank you.
All right. At this time, I'll open it up to the public. Anyone wish to speak on the establishment of the retirement plan and trust for the general employees of the city of Sebastian? Anyone on Zoom?
Not this time.
All right. Mr. Dodd?
Yeah, sometimes I like to explain things just for in case there's somebody out there watching this meeting or pick it up on Zoom. The reason we're doing this new retirement plan is the CWA plan. That's a union that's been decertified. We had a large number of employees who were involved in the retirement. Within that retirement plan is probably going to go bankrupt. I mean, that's the feeling that everybody has. It may not. So in order to protect our employees from the possibility of that being an issue with them, the council made the decision at the recommendation of the staff to move into a new retirement plan to replace that and to protect our employees from the possibility of that plan going fully bankrupt. If it goes bankrupt, then it's turned over to the Federal Insurance Corporation. The people who currently are retired in it are going to lose 30 or 40% of their current retirement payments. We just didn't want our active employees to not have an option to do that. So we're not doing this just because we want a new retirement plan. We're doing this because I think to protect the employees, we really don't have a choice to do that, take that step. And it's a good move for the employees. Actually, the employees, because of this, the employees are ended up getting probably a better retirement plan that has better features and better functions within it for them. It gives them an opportunity to buy up in credits to get a larger retirement by putting in money. They don't have to. They can contribute 0 or they can contribute 10%. It depends on what they're looking at from a long-range retirement system. So it's a good move for the employees. And I've heard some positive things from a couple of employees about what they see on the plan. So That's it, sir.
And with that, Mr. Mayor, I'd like to move approval of ordinance 0-25-13, second reading and adoption, hearing establishing a retirement plan and trust for the general employees of the city of Sebastian.
Second.
All right, got a motion and a second. Roll call, Ms. Williams.
Councilmember Dodd?
Yes.
Councilmember Nunn?
Yes.
Mayor McPartlin?
Yes.
And Vice Mayor Jones?
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you.
All right, leads us up to item 12D, ordinance O-25-14, second reading and adoption hearing, establishment and creation of the Board of Trustees for the retirement plan and trust for the general employees of the city of Sebastian. Madam
Mr. Mayor,
Attorney.
I think Mr. Stewart kind of covered that during his thing. I'll just move approval of ordinance number 0-25-14.
The attorney needs to read the ordinance.
Let me read it
Oh,
first.
you got to
and-
read it?
Yeah, let me read it, and then you can do that. An ordinance number 02514, an ordinance of the City of Sebastian, Florida, providing for the establishment and creation of the Board of Trustees for the Retirement Plan and Trust for the general employees of the City of Sebastian, creating a new section 2-136 of the City of Sebastian, Florida Code of Ordinances titled Retirement Plan and Trust for the general employees of the City of Sebastian's Board of Trustees, providing for repeal of all ordinances or parts of ordinances that conflict with, providing for severability, codification, incorporation in the adoption agreement for the retirement plan and trust for the general employees of the City of Sebastian, administered by the Florida League of Cities, providing for an effective date. Now you can make it.
Now I move approval.
Second.
Ordinance 0-25-14.
Second.
All right. Got a motion and a second. Anyone from the public wish to speak on the establishment of the Board of Trustees for the retirement plan? Anyone on Zoom?
Not at this time.
All right. And we got everybody's dates and how many years for all the members? That's all squared out, right?
Yes, sir. I believe we captured exactly what you all had requested with that.
Okay. And Ms.
So-
Williams, you get to advertise now, or have you had any?
I did advertise.
Okay, very good. So anybody who's interested in becoming a member of that board, overseeing the retirement plan, that would be tremendous. All right, roll call, Ms. Williams.
Mr. Mayor, that'll be tomorrow morning. I'm going to do that.
Okay,
I thought you meant the advertisement for the public hearings.
excellent.
Okay. Councilmember Nunn?
Yes.
Mayor McPartlin?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Jones?
Yes.
And Councilmember Dodd?
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you.
All right, thank you. We have no unfinished business, leads us to new business. 14A, consideration of resolution number R-25-35, approving a collective bargaining agreement to be effective October 1st, 2025 to September 30th, 2028, between the City of Sebastian and the International Union of Police Associations, and authorize the city manager to execute the appropriate documents. Mr. Benton.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So this is, the culmination of quite a few months that we have had an opportunity to meet with the IUPA representatives for the police department. This includes our police officers and sergeants and any classifications, detective, corporal, that fall within that. I'm happy. I think that this contract is a great representation of, council's direction, and also, representation of our residents to show their appreciation for the officers that we have that do such an amazing job within the city. And I just want to thank the city negotiating team that included the attorney, Ms. Cockcroft, Mr. Stewart, our chief financial officer, Cindy Watson, our Human Resources Director, and the Chief of Police, Mr. Daniel Acosta. So thank them for their hard work, and also really want to recognize the representation from the police department, detectives Pizzuti and Raddick. Thank them for their cordial negotiations that went back and forth. And like I said, I think it is a really good agreement for both sides. And we recommend approval of Resolution R-2535 tonight.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Penn. Council, any questions for staff? They wish to proceed on Resolution R-25-35.
Move approval R-25-35.
Second, sorry.
A motion is second. Anyone from the public wish to speak on this resolution? Anyone Zoom?
Not at this time.
Roll call, Ms. Williams.
Mayor McPartlin?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Jones?
Yes.
Councilmember Dodd?
Yes.
And Councilmember Nunn?
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you. Please accept item 14B, consideration of Amendment 2 for invitation to bid 21-09, professional janitorial services, and invitation to bid 21-10, public restroom cleaning services, and authorization for the city manager to execute all appropriate documents. Ms. Graham, good evening.
Good afternoon, Council. So this is the second amendment to this contract. The contract was initially awarded in 2021. So the contractor came to the city and requested an increase in their yearly budget. Because their requested amount was less than our budgeted amount, we decided that we would approve it, but we also needed to add in additional conditions to improve the service. So now that we have that, we're able to make sure that the buildings are better taken care of. So I do want to point out that the current budget amount is $153,000, but we did reduce locations. So that's why if you look at the amount we had last year and you add 6% on it, it's not the same. We reduced locations and that reduced the amount. So I just wanted to point that out. So if you have any questions, let me know.
All right, Council, any questions for Ms. Graham? I wish to proceed.
I'll make a motion to approve Amendment 2 for invitation to bid 21-09 and 21-10.
Second.
All right, motion and a second. Anyone from the public wish to speak on these items? I guess pay toilets is out, huh? All right. Roll call, Ms. Williams.
Vice Mayor Jones?
Yes.
Councilmember Dodd?
Yes.
Councilmember Nunn?
Yes.
And Mayor McPartlin?
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you.
Next up, item 14C, consideration of selecting Asphalt Paving Systems Incorporated for ITB 25-18 citywide pavement maintenance and rehabilitative services. Ms. Graham.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So back in June, I issued a solicitation for a new paving contract. Previously, we were piggybacking off of a contract that was done through Lake County, but we realized that we would be better off by having our own contract that we control the terms and conditions. So we put out a solicitation. We did only receive one bidder, but the reason for us receiving one bidder is that we wanted one contractor that could do everything. Not just a contractor that could do, let's say, mill and overlay. We wanted someone that can do mill and overlay and FDR. We didn't want to have to go to two separate contractors in order to get the work done. So we did have Asphalt Paving Services. They were the only individuals that bid. I took a look at their pricing. I did go back and forth with them in order to better understand their pricing because we were paying more than our previous contract. But in our situation, we were piggybacking off of a contract that was for a rural county and we're an urban city. So we did see increases when it came to MOT and mobilization. And we also saw increases with pavement markings, but that was because our bid, we did pavement markings as one line item. So that is temporary marking as well as a thermoplastic marking. So I did just want to point that out. If you look at it or someone looks at it, yes, it was more, but there were factors for why it was more. So I would like to request approval of this contract to Asphalt Paving Systems.
All right, thank you, Ms. Graham. Any questions for Ms. Graham? I wish to proceed on the Asphalt Paving Systems.
Can I ask a question of the city manager, I guess? These increases that are coming with this bid, are they going to affect our budget and what we're able to do over the next couple of years?
Yeah, I don't think that it'll affect the budget because we'll align the budget with what we had planned to do. It may reduce the amount of miles that we can do, but I know that I'm comfortable with the amount that's in here and the number of roads that we had allocated for next year.
Okay.
So there was already kind of a built-in increase because we knew we were going to have to go out to bid. So the numbers will accurately reflect that.
All right, thank you. With that, I'll make a motion to approve ITB 25-18.
Second.
If I may, before you vote, I do want to say that the contractor, they have worked with us in the past. So generally, whenever they come and they speak to our Public Works Director, we have received pricing based on the amount of work that we were doing that was less than what they bid. So I did just want to point that out. I noticed that as we did our last bid, so I anticipate them doing the same thing. They've been willing to work with us within the budget that we have. So I just wanted to add that.
Thank you, Ms. Graham. Anyone from the public wish to speak on this contract? Anyone on Zoom?
No, at this time.
Right. Roll call, Ms. Williams.
Councilmember Dodd?
Yes.
Councilmember Nunn?
Yes.
Mayor McPartlin?
Yes.
And Vice Mayor Jones?
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Leads us up to city attorney matters. Madam Attorney.
Thank you, Mayor. I have a few things for you this evening. The first thing would be an update on litigation matters, briefly. We have several things that are going on right now. I just wanted to mention, we did talk briefly in the past about a house with squatters and whatnot, and I just wanted to update you on that matter. It's being foreclosed on by HUD and actively going through the process, and we're having some good progress on that matter. So I just wanted to update you on that. The next matter is relating to the opioid settlement that I brought you, I don't know, last month or the month before, and we executed what we thought at the time was all the documents on that. Was reached out to by the Attorney General today or yesterday, I think, relating to more forms that we may need to fill out. Going to have to sort all that out to make sure that the city receives whatever funds it's entitled to. So look for that. The third matter in litigation would be that code enforcement matter that was referred to earlier, as council is aware. That matter is still pending. We don't generally comment on pending litigation matters. That matter will be pending appeal for a few more weeks. And if there's further litigation, as you all know, it's not at the city's initiation. The last matter I have for you tonight is that I gave you all a letter on September 16th letting you know that I'm resigning. And let me tell you, it has zero to do with the suggestion that was made earlier and everything to do with opportunities that were presented to me. I, under the terms of my contract, have a 60-day notice period. I'm respectively requesting that you would reduce that to a 38 days notice. Thank you for the opportunity to be your city attorney for going on 2.5 years now. It's been a great experience. I've enjoyed working with all of you and your manager and your staff. Thank you for that. With that said, there are several options on the table for you to consider, including potentially negotiating with me on my contract, figuring out if you wish to hire me interim through the firm that I'm most likely going to work for on an interim or permanent basis, and then how you'd like to proceed with filling the vacancy, interim, permanent, or through in-house or recruiting. For your information, I did speak to Andrew Mai, the former city attorney who was interim. At the time he was interim, he was through a law firm. He wouldn't be available to serve as interim at this time because he is a full-time government employee at a different jurisdiction. I also contacted the runner-up from when you selected me to see if he would be interested in the opportunity, and at this time he is not. But I just wanted to make you aware of all of that. I also reached out to a recruiting firm that I've worked with in the past, and I do have a ballpark quote from them if you'd like to have that information. So at this point, thank you very much, and please give me direction at this point.
All right, thank you.
What's the date? I mean, and I'm sorry, I don't have the letter that you sent in front of me, so there was a date in the letter that you're asking us to approve.
October 24th, I'm flexible. I could change that to the 28th if you'd like. I'll be out of town starting on the 29th. But, you know, if it doesn't work for the council, then I am available through November 15th, as the 60 days notice requires.
Okay, so you are available through
I'm
November 15th.
available. My preference would be that it would be through the end of October, not mid-November, based on when the new council is sworn in and whatnot. But I'm available to you at your, pleasure, and also if you decided that you wanted to hear about the firm that I'll most likely be with.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, given the short time frame, I think we probably need to kind of discuss that this evening, if we can, and try to give the city managers or actually the HR department some direction on this. If you feel comfortable doing that.
I think we got to do something. We got to at least have an interim in the thing, and then decide how we want to do the process, and also discuss, do we want an attorney, do we want to work with a firm? A possibility.
I mean, my preference would be that I don't know that I want to hire another firm to recruit an attorney for us. I mean, we've done that in the past. I'd kind of like to see if we can go through just the normal channels and have HR post the job on, and I did ask, I asked Cynthia to provide information, some salary information. I think she sent that to everybody. And I asked her to provide job descriptions for the attorney and the manager. I think she sent that. The attorney's job description would be, it's perfectly fine to use as a posting. Florida League of Cities has a nice job site right now. There's some other job sites. And maybe go ahead and post it and give it some time between now and the time that it takes, that we have to deal with that. We need to talk about, in some cases, from a salary point of view, what we're going to do. I mean, the information that I got from HR on the salaries, when I asked her to provide information related to similar city sizes, and I'll send a copy of this spreadsheet to everybody just so you've got it, because and it's in the public record, and I'll send a copy to Brian and the attorney and so forth. But I just went out and did some additional research on these particular cities that I got from HR to provide a little bit more reference information. And I've got on this things like the city's budget, where they have a utility, where they have a police department, fire department, and what their selected number of staff people are, because that kind of frames things as to where Sebastian fits within these dollar amounts. I mean, I can look at a city that pays their attorney $246,000, but they have a $156 million budget as opposed to a $50 million budget or $48 million budget. Yeah, so the question is, where is it on par? They have a utility and so forth. So I think we need to come to some agreement on from a wage point of view, on what the range is that we're looking at, so we can advertise it. And that might be something we need to get back from the HR department when they look at that, because I personally would like to see us have a full-time staff attorney that's an employee of the city, as opposed to contracting with a firm. I mean, the cities that we interviewed the last time we did this, that contract, spent a large amount of money compared to those cities that didn't contract. I mean, when we talked to some cities that actually had firms that did their legal work for them, they were spending $400,000 or $500,000 a year on legal work. And the question comes about as to the size of Sebastian and the workload, or would we be better off trying to hire an additional staff in-house attorney who's willing to do that, if we can find somebody that's willing to do that. So that's just my 2 cents worth. And I will send a copy of the spreadsheet, just because it was very enlightening when I went out and looked at things like budget sizes and so forth on these cities. When I looked at their salaries related to that, it's very important to understand how they compare to Sebastian when we talk about that. So, but I'd kind of like to personally have us move forward and with HR trying to post a job, use the current job description, post a job. Maybe take the salary range that was used the last time that we recruited an attorney and bring it up to wherever it would be based on increases that we provided, and just see if we get any hits on that. And then we can always decide we're going to hire a firm or we're going to do something different 2 weeks from now. But if we start that process now, we might find that we're getting something back.
Well, I think we got to get an ad out.
Yeah,
right,
we do.
Before our next meeting.
Yes.
I mean, maybe tomorrow.
I would
Right.
love to see that go out tomorrow.
So the range we used last time, maybe add 10%.
Add 10%.
Add 10%.
Yeah.
To go out, And then also what, the American, the local bar association?
Local bar association.
And League of Cities. So is that doable for everybody?
Yeah.
What do you want to have a closing date on that?
I'm sorry?
A closing date on applications?
I don't know, what's normal, 3 weeks? I'm looking at Cynthia, is it 3 weeks kind of normal for?
So the end of October?
Yeah, at least a month.
So what, like the end of October?
Yeah. Because we're looking at, the closing date towards the end of October. The worst case is that we actually don't have an attorney in that office for 2 or 3 weeks. I hope that's the worst case.
Yeah.
Or that we try to find somebody locally who can fill in to work with the police department on code issues and things like that.
So,
because that's the pressing things that our attorney deals with right now probably are more along the lines of code issues and police department issues as opposed to things.
So we discussed that to discuss her request of time. Normally, if we had an election, which we're not having, we do not have an election this year, we would need her for the responsibilities of that election. But since we don't have an election, we don't need somebody to help certify it and all that stuff that she would handle. I personally don't see an issue with 28th, I think was the date she mentioned.
No, I don't have a problem with that.
If you guys are okay with that, I would recommend that we approve that as her final date, if that fits into what she's needing to do.
You said 24th?
Well, is it 24th, but I can do the 28th, which is the following Tuesday, if that's what you want.
I would rather see it the 28th, only because that gets us pretty close to the end of the month, if that's okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
All right. How is that working for you, Mr. Benton? Are you okay with that?
Sure.
Yes, I mean,
He doesn't want to commit because, he got the police union thing done without getting any traffic tickets, so he doesn't want to commit to any of this stuff.
I think probably the most important thing is to identify what mechanism we're going to go for an interim, because ultimately we will have to have an interim. Even if we were to close the position 4 weeks from now, October 24th, interviews, going through that process, and then they probably got to give a notice period if they're working somewhere else. You're going to be the end of November into December before anyone would ever start, to be realistic on this. So I just know that that'll be another thing that we have to kind of get some direction on is how we want to look at interim, whether we look at a firm. I know Jennifer has mentioned that she may be going to a firm for an interim basis, or however you all want to look at that. That's probably one of the biggest things that's up in the air. I don't have a problem. I'll get with Cindy first thing in the morning. I know she's probably already started a little bit of the process, but I'll get with her first thing in the morning and we'll get the position posted out by the end of the week. For sure.
Right. So how about we close the position October 31st? That's a Friday, the last Friday. Because again, by the time we get the interviews, I expect we wouldn't have any interviews until we have our 5th member seated.
Right. So we basically will need an interim attorney between October the 28th and probably January 1.
I would say through the end of the year at least.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So is it worth possibly advertising that interim position, or is there do you want to try to do word of mouth on that, or what?
Do you have any? Can we get it out there to see that we're interested and see what feedback we get?
Can you provide us, can our current attorney maybe provide us a proposal for that interim work for whether a new firm?
I can.
So we can at least look at that?
I can.
Okay.
Yeah, we definitely give us an option at least.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, that's the only other option other than Mr. Mine. He wouldn't be able to do it. I just think with that short a time period to have an interim on board, that's probably the best option, but, it's up to you.
And I'm just saying, if we had Ms. Cockcraft and her firm as the interim, at least there's no explaining or adjustment period. At least it gets us to a new attorney without having to go through an understanding process. And I think that has benefits for us as a city. It at least keeps things rolling as we are until we get to that new attorney being hired. So I recommend that if it's a reasonable enough that we can afford that firm, that would make sense for us to at least keep things as normal as possible until we get a new attorney and not having to, totally train somebody.
Well, that does seem like the best option. Is that okay legally, or do we have to?
I mean, you have a lot of options available to you in terms of choosing your lawyers. You have the discretion to do that without bidding or going through, selection process. It's entirely up to you on who you want your lawyers to be.
Yeah.
So, but
So we can look at the proposal for the interim, on the interim basis at our next meeting, possibly, and would that be reasonable?
Yes.
Yeah.
By October 8th?
October 8th.
October 8th?
Yeah.
And if you come up with any other, proposals before, then we
Yeah,
could entertain that as well at that time.
Okay.
All right, Mr.
I don't see us coming up with anything else, but, I mean, it's,
So, real quick, just so Cindy and I have some direction, in our posting, do you want us to have any consideration for firms, or do you want it to strictly be an in-house attorney?
I prefer an in-house attorney myself.
I think we should focus on.
I do too, but I wouldn't want to limit a firm from responding personally just because you don't know what you're giving up. I don't know. So but I do, my preference personally is someone in that office up there 5 days a week as a staff attorney that's working as a city employee, as opposed to an outside firm, a firm. Everybody that we talked to last time, everybody we talked to, everybody I talked to, the cities that were using firms were paying a lot more money than we had to, than people were investing to buy a firm, to employ an attorney. Now, I can't see right now that our workload is at a point where we may have to, at some point in time, maybe in our next budget, do a paralegal or do something like that. I mean, I'm not saying that that's not a possibility, but the workload is stuff that we don't need a staff of 5 people or 6 people, and so I just don't know. I mean, I'd be interested in seeing that, but so that's my position on it.
So we'll look at a single in-house attorney. The ad will go out, okay? And then close the ad Halloween, and then we'll see what we come up with. All right, anything else, Madam Attorney?
Nope.
Brian?
I just have one thing. I just want to say thank you to the Finance Department, Mr. Stewart, and specifically Ms. Jennifer Smith for their hard work on the budget, and then also to recognize all of our department heads and their staff that was involved in preparing for the budget. And now we'll kind of have a month or 2 off, and we'll get back started on next year's budget. So, but that's all I have for tonight.
All right, thank you. Ms. Williams?
Nothing.
Mr. Nunn?
I mean, you don't get to talk for election stuff. You gotta find something to talk about next meeting. Talk some about them.
Okay.
No, I just, thank you. That's it. Nothing else tonight.
All right, Mr. Dodd?
I just have one thing, and this is actually back to the attorney again, but in our conversation I had with her recently, she mentioned that the new pension plan may require that there be a modification to the charter officer contracts because of the difference in what the pension plan dictates and what some of the contracts say. So I'd kind of like to recommend to the council that we ask for that change to make it compatible with the pension plan be made and have them brought back. It's only, as far as I understand from what Jennifer was saying, is it's something to do with the condition in the contract that says what's being given to your pension plan versus what's in the pension plan. So it's just a matter of making sure that we're compatible with the new pension plan with that. So
That is correct. I was going to, after you all had the approval today, I was then going to speak to you all about that to potentially either bring it back at the next meeting or the following meeting.
Yeah.
But we will not, under our current contracts, we are not eligible to participate in the retirement plan. So we would, I know I would request an addendum to the contract to clarify that. And I think Jeanette as well, so.
Yeah, so I think it would be appropriate to change the contracts to provide you that option, or to make it so that you have the capability of doing that if you choose to do that. And you know, it's not going, shouldn't change any of the other conditions in the contract, you just change that piece of it.
All right, anything else, Mr. Dunn?
No, sir.
Mr. Jones?
No, sir.
All right. Well, I have is, thank you, Madam Attorney, for your time that was here. And again, Brian, you're absolutely right. Finance Department, especially getting that pension plan on such short notice and getting it done was pretty phenomenal. And of course, all the department heads are fantastic, and the workers. Being no further business, we're adjourned.